Hi, I'm Josh McDonald.
And I'm Miranda Materi, and we are Hand Therapy Academy.
So, we have just recently passed the 7 year mark. Our very first post was put up just over 7 years ago, and we've come a really long way doing all kinds of things from trying to record weird, bad videos on a cheap recorder to all the way up to doing all this website and training people. It's just been a huge journey for us. So, we wanted to kind of do a little recap.
Yeah, so it is. What are the top lessons or the top things that have come out of the last 7 years for you? And it really can be anything.
Yeah. So we come up with these topics kind of off the cuff, and so these aren't like I didn't sit down and think about this for a day or two. So this is just kind of off the cuff. One of the first things I think about is the huge need that was out there that we didn't realize. The number of people, we know we're a niche market, and we know we're not appealing. We're not going to have a giant YouTube following and all these, but it's been interesting to see how much people are just sponges and want to soak up, and all these younger therapists in particular who have a hard time finding access to things are just anxious and hungry for all of this. So it's been really cool to just help people get access to all this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because it was never our goal, right? Like when we started, it was never our goal to be like, oh, we're going to be, just teaching hand therapists, right? It started as we're just going to share information and hopefully build our private practices. So it's just kind of interesting to me to think like that was never the end goal, but just by saying yes to things and doing more things, we've kind of created this, well, yeah, this basically this online forum that was never like really the primary goal.
Yeah. But you're right. Just kind of saying yes to things and being open and willing to things is what led us where we are. And I think that willingness is something that I feel like I say no a lot to things. Great ideas that Miranda has. I'm like, I don't think we can pull that
All
one
the
off,
time.
but yet we
No,
usually do.
I always know when to ask.
Right. So what would you say is one of your big takeaways?
Oh, geez. And like you, I didn't have a lot of time to think about this. I think, at least for me, there was something that I wanted to give to people that I felt like I didn't have, and that was a safe space to share information. So, like when we would, I think you and I were trained similarly, right? Like you didn't want to share mistakes or really ask questions for fear of being reprimanded or
Hmm.
people looking down upon you. Or like I remember like sometimes I would get patients from one therapist and I would be really like it would be really hard to see her patients because afterwards, she would like in a very like aggressive way tell me all the stuff I was doing wrong. And I think that it's fun to see like how we can like share information in a space that's like safe and kind to each other. So like when you and I get questions, it's always like, well, like for me, I'm always like, well, I want to make sure this person continues to feel comfortable asking me this stuff. So I'm going to
Yeah.
try to present the information in a way that's like kind and fun and like where we're moving the field forward as opposed to something where we're like, oh, we shouldn't share that because that's mine and only mine.
Yeah. And I think that last comment you made there is another big takeaway from me. We didn't create any of this. Like there's very, very little that is specific to us that we invented or created or came up with. Most of what we have, we learn from other people, we learn from articles and textbooks. We're just trying to put it together in a way that makes sense and organize it and make it something that's easy to consume and digest and understand. But we don't hold on to any of this, almost any of it, except maybe like the branding and the name that we copyrighted, which was fantastic. But we don't hold on to much of it as like, hey, that's ours. Like you shouldn't touch that. Like that's not how you grow a practice, grow a field is by hanging on to things and not sharing. Like this is, if someone wants to do a button book, go to a button book. Someone wants to make a heavy wrist maze, or if other people are out there teaching people how to do the CHT exam, great. More CHTs out there. That's okay.
Yeah, it's really like just sharing your knowledge to grow our field and make our field better, right? So if there's a taping technique, we're never going to be the one that says, hey, that was mine. I don't want you using that, right? We want you to use the information that we're sharing. And of course, we want to give credit to the people that maybe wrote it, or that's why we're always trying to put in our citations or where we heard it from. But I think that's a good point, Josh. None of this is really an original idea. It's stuff that we've learned from each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the things we learn from our members too, right? Like how much do our members teach us with their questions and showing us things?
Yeah. And there's no point at which I am not constantly learning with all of this. Like we're doing a project where we're going through rehab of the hand right now and doing some other things. And I'm constantly learning new things and reading stuff and diving into articles, and the members that ask us questions and the Instagram questions we get, like that always causes me to go second guess things and question things and find research to support that. Well, why do I do that? Well, let's find out why. And so it's been a constant learning process, which is great.
Yeah. So like 70 years ago when we started this, right, I was thinking, gosh, I do know a lot. I've read the book a few times. I've treated hundreds of thousands of patients. I made a lot of splints. Like, I'm like, I do know a lot. But then when you have to teach someone else,
Yeah.
or when you get to teach someone else, you learn it so much better, right? So Hand Therapy Academy has been a gift, not only like in terms of, what we get to share, but also like selfishly for my own learning, right? I'm so much a better therapist and better teacher now than even what I was 7 years ago, because you're just consuming the content
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. And I love learning, and I love learning like new things. And Hand Therapy Academy has given me the opportunity to learn not just hand therapy related stuff, but all these other things that we do, learning how to use like Adobe formats, and learning how to use video editing software, and how to set up a filming studio, and how to put together like graphic design stuff. My daughter graduated graphic design school, so she's teaching me all these. It's like all the stuff we get to learn and do. It's funny, sometimes we'll get emails and say, hey, could you and your team take care of something? There's no team. Like, it's the two of us and an IT guy in Ukraine, which is, he's amazing. But like, there's not this big team. It's us figuring out how to do these websites and all this different stuff, which has been, it's no longer a side hustle, but it's been great for me. I like learning how to do new stuff. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I do remember that, right? It was a huge hill to climb learning how to do something on our website, right? And now we just kind of have to do it all. If there's a problem, if someone's contacting us, it's us trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a huge steep learning curve.
And we have been through, we are on our fourth, I think, IT guy, and have had a lot of ups and downs, times when we were supposed to launch and COVID saved us from having a massive failure at ASHT and having things just fall apart. So there have been lots of up and downs, and you don't always see that when you look at someone's stuff on social media. That is not reality. That is not what it looks like. That is the forward facing view that you give people. And there's a lot of messy mistakes and stuff that happens behind the scenes to get to the things that look halfway decent on the forward facing side.
Right. Yeah. Like, I never thought I'd be writing code, right? But like, there's no one else to do it. And then whenever I ask Josh if we should hire someone, he's always like, well, can't we figure it out ourselves? I was like, yeah, you know what? We can.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my edicts in life is don't pay someone else to do something I can figure out. And so I can figure out video editing. A buddy of mine showed me how to do it. And we do video editing, and we've got this massive setup for recording, and it's just, we're writing our own code. It's great.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other big take homes to wrap up today before we finish? Any other big things about the last 7 years?
No, I just think it's been really it's been really great and a really fun experience, and getting to meet people from all over the world and mentoring people. I don't know. It's really actually incredible, and I'm really thankful for Hand Therapy Academy.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And I agree with you. One of the coolest things for me, we love helping all these members. It's really cool to see the international impact we have. It's not huge, but it is cool to see people from Iran and Brazil and Australia and Russia and all these countries that aren't even speaking the same language as us, but they're finding us and it's helpful to them. I think that's super cool. And as much as helping someone who's in the middle of an entirely rural area and they see 20% hands and they have no access to mentorship or education, and they found something that can help them along. So it's been a really rewarding experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us on our email, info@handtherapyacademy.com, or on our social media platforms at Hand Therapy Academy.